Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy, and tonight I am reviewing the Craigellachie 17-year-old. A jump up in price from the classic and very popular 13-year-old expression. Is it worth the price increase to get to this bottle? I'll let you know when I nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. Alright, the Craigellachie 17, 46% ABV. It's non-chill filtered with no added color. An interesting maturation on this. They use ex-bourbon cask and ex-sherry cask. They blend that together. Then they take half of that vatting, mature that in a fresh first fill sherry cask, and then they take half of the other stuff and mature it in a fresh first fill ex-bourbon cask. So kind of an interesting maturation where they blend and they finish it separately in two first fill casks. Let's see how this is on the nose. Oh, just like so fresh, vibrant fruits here, like kiwi, tropical fruits, some pineapple definitely in there. You definitely kind of get more of what I would think is the ex-bourbon maturation kind of on the nose. Lots of malt influence in this. You definitely get that malt characteristic coming through to the forefront. And then lots of like sweetness, this like cotton candy kind of sweetness. Spices are very well integrated in this. I think that's a theme that I'm going to be talking about a lot with this whiskey, is how well balanced it is. You almost get this kind of like smoky, it's like a blown out wick. Like if you blow out a wick, let it complete all like the smoke dissipate, and then just smell that wick that's been blown out maybe like a couple minutes before. Kind of get that note in here. It adds a really cool element to it. Just very refined, classy kind of Scotch here. Let's go Palate. So one thing that sticks out for me is you kind of get this like waxy kind of note. It kind of complements the malt. Again, the malt characteristic carries over to the palate. The waxiness is reminiscent of what you get like in Craigellachie. Very similar kind of aspect with this. It reminds me of Craigellachie a lot. And that's like why I think I like this whiskey so much. Big fan of Craigellachie, big fan of this. More of the sherry influence is coming in now. Definitely get the sherry notes, maybe a little bit of chocolate fudge, caramel, candy apple kind of thing going on with it. And the spice, again, the spice is just well balanced, very well integrated. Everything is in like a harmonious kind of balance to this. Really, really nice. I've been playing around with water with this. I think that like a drop of water really kind of just opens this up really nice. So with water. So right away, like some kind of green banana note appears with that drop of water. Just a drop, it's crazy how much that can affect it. Again, that really like creamy viscosity malt characteristic really kind of shines with this. So even though it's like a mix of sherry casks and ex-bourbon casks, I think that the ex-bourbon casks kind of dominate this. It's a really nice kind of change up Scotch. If you're used to drinking a lot of sherry bombs, a lot of heavily sherry influenced things, this is more ex-bourbon focused with a kind of a hint of sherry. And it just lends itself to like a super complex, nicely refined, kind of nuanced expression here. And a big difference from what you get from the 13-year-old. Now the Craigellachie 13, you see it a lot of places. I was never the hugest fan. It's a good Scotch, don't get me wrong. I never kind of went to it. I never really purchased one. I never really thought, oh, I need to have Craigellachie 13. The price difference and the bump up to this is definitely worth it, in my opinion. If you like the Craigellachie 13, you're going to love this one. Score-wise for me, this is a very solid 88 out of 100. Very, very nice whiskey. Now let's talk price. So price varies with this bottle, I've noticed, between markets. The LCBO here in Ontario actually put this thing on clearance, and they were selling it for $145 Canadian, which was a great price compared to other markets. If it wasn't at that price, I probably wouldn't have tried it in the first place because people were buying them up, and I got a chance to try this for the very first time and was completely blown away by it. When I purchased this bottle, it came in at $165 Canadian, and that was a sale price. I think most times you're going to see this closer to the $200 price point, but there are sales on this bottle all the time. I've seen people talk about how they can find this in the US at Costco for like $100 US. So it definitely needs to be shopped around to find a good price on this. Otherwise, you're reaching that $200 price point. I think for me, the $165 Canadian that I paid is right where I would say that this is worth the value. So I'm going to leave value at 0, 88 out of 100 on this one. Compared to like other 17-year-old Scotches, I think if you look at Glenfarclas 17, it's almost kind of the same price. I would take this over Glenfarclas 17 for sure. And then you look at something like the Balvenie 17 Double Wood, which I think has actually been discontinued. But that was like $100 more than this, and I would take this bottle over that Balvenie for sure. I'll reach this when I'm looking for like a nice kind of change up for like maybe if I'm drinking a lot of heavy sherry stuff. This is a very, very nicely balanced whiskey and a great way to start an evening. If you can find it for the price point that I mentioned, definitely pick it up. Let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried the Craigellachie 17? If you're a fan of the 13 and you're thinking about going to this, definitely do it if you can find a good price. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really much appreciated. Have a good one.